Hi, this is Soul Mechanics, practical tune-ups to be a healthy human, and my name is Kate Foley. As a massage therapist of 22 plus years, I've gradually seen our culture abuse and diminish the use of touch. Much of this is because we need safeguards to protect us from criminal behavior. But because of the fears of crossing boundaries, we've taken away an essential need for our well-being. Touch is just as important as conversation. There are many benefits to a safe, nurturing, consensual touch. You can find tons of research on the importance of touch on our health. It isn't limited to newborn babies. A nurturing touch calms the nervous system, slows respirations and heart rate. It improves mood, improves mental health. It also improves immune function. These are just a few examples, but paramount to our health and interactions with one another. Some people aren't touched by anyone but their healthcare providers. Since the beginning of the COVID pandemic, touch has become even more important because of social isolation and fears of contagion. Also, we assume that when two people are in partnership or marriage, that they touch each other. Some of the loneliest people are in relationships. We can't assume that people are being nurtured through touch when they are married or in a partnership. Unfortunately, more times than I can count, I've been at a social gathering when someone asks me what I do for a living. When I tell them I'm a massage therapist, invariably someone either says, "Oh my, how exotic," or, dreadfully, "So do you do happy endings?" followed by obnoxious laughter. In my late 20s and early 30s, I would steep in quiet outrage for days after hearing something like this. Then, as I got older, and I began to understand the nuances of interactions and emotional underlay, I began to see these types of responses as discomfort with their own body, possibly their own unacknowledged trauma. The association of touch and sex is dysfunctional. Imagine the mere subject of professional touch eliciting a correlation to prostitution. Maybe it has something to do with prostitutes disguising themselves as massage therapists? Or our deeply embedded puritanical roots are a subconscious reminder that we don't blend morality and physicality. Unfortunately, these outdated belief systems and prostitution are very much a part of our psyches and also influence our ideas on touch. However, if you are really comfortable with being touched in a nurturing and safe way, and on a regular basis, you wouldn't associate the two. In fact, it might confuse you. Nowadays, when I hear a derogatory statement about my profession in any gathering, because I still do, I'll either say, "I think you're confused. A licensed massage therapist is not a prostitute." Or I'll go a little bit deeper and I'll say, in my experience, when someone relates professional touch with prostitution, it leads me to believe that they have a dysfunctional relationship with their bodies and touch in general. I figure if no one else is going to address this blaring issue, I'll do it one gathering at a time. If you're a person who touches people on a regular basis due to your profession or another social setting, I'd like to highlight some important notions to keep in mind. Your approach sets the tone. Approaching someone happens before you act and after your intention is set. We all know intention matters. We can classify touch at a glance. We need to begin to think about touch as energy. We all know it, we all feel it, down to the subtlest level. We can feel when someone is staring at us. We can feel intentions. It's time to be accountable for our intentions or lack of intentions when interacting with each other. We cannot carelessly touch one another. Respecting and honoring each other begins in our personal lives and extends outward. There are vast numbers of traumatized people who really need someone to touch them and nurture them. An appropriate professional touch could be the game changer. You could be that person who helps a traumatized person transition from acute to recovery. Or the other way around. Your touch could potentially prolong their acute trauma, Please don't be that person. Always ask for permission prior to touching someone. Never assume you can touch, even if you have written consent, even if it's your best friend. Consider someone as walking up to you from behind. Would you want them to reach out and place their hand on you without warning? And that's a gentle, kind approach. What if they carelessly and abruptly place their hand on you? What if their intention was to hurry up and attend to whatever random ailment you had so they could finish their day? That's just with one touch. What about a full session of treatment? How do you think it feels to be touched by someone who's angry or jealous? Or what if they don't like you? Permission doesn't have to sound formal and awkward either. It could sound something like this. Are you okay if I place my hand on your shoulder? I just want to offer a supportive hand during our appointment. Or, listen, during this session, I'm going to be placing my hand on various areas like your shoulders or your hips. Is that okay with you? Are there any areas that are sensitive or you really don't want to be touched? Or let's say you have a close friend who's going through a difficult time. Ask something like, I'm going to grab your hand, is that okay? Don't be afraid of communicating your intentions. And if someone says no, respect this. Don't make it about your hurt feelings because it's not about that. It's about respecting boundaries. Approach everyone as though today was their last day on earth, tenderly and compassionately. If you don't have time to be slow and curious, let's face it, not everyone does, then approach slowly, not too slow, because that's creepy and can feel clumsy and uncertain. Approach with ease, confidence, and intention. Explain your purpose, and don't be shy about touch either. It's a balance. People need to know where you are. If someone is lying on a table, you might try touching their feet lightly as you pass, or a hand on the shoulder. Slowly and tenderly, let them know where you are. If you can't place your hand on them, then sometimes subtle sounds also help. When you have your hands on someone, think about what's under your fingertips with innocent curiosity. You may even want to say silently to yourself, I'm here, I'm listening, and then wait. Listening and waiting silently with your hands on someone can be transformative. There are several rhythms under your fingertips: respiratory, circulatory, piezoelectric, craniosacral, emotional, mental, many others we likely haven't identified yet. There's a lot there. It's all information. You don't need to know what you're feeling. Just be present to it and be curious, as if you're seeing a hummingbird for the first time. What do you do if you're attracted to a client or a patient? This is going to happen. Acknowledge it within yourself. Have the intrapersonal conversation. Okay, I'm attracted to this person, but they are a person and deserve my professional attention. Always come back to the phrase, how would I feel if my provider was attracted to me and I was there for a health concern? It's not respectful to harbor feelings for your patient when they might desperately need your professional touch and care. And believe me, it is translated through your touch. You have no control over this feeling. You have the power to make that train of thinking off limits. If you listen closely to the global undertone, there is a call for subtlety. We can feel other people's ripples as strangers passing by one another. We can sense tone and intent electronically through social media, emails, texts. Touch has become more than just physical. The sooner we acknowledge this, the better we can navigate our new reality. We are no longer living in a dense physical world. We are buzzing and expansive. We cannot continue pretending that our thoughts and intentions are isolated. They aren't. We're beginning to question verbs and nouns. This is just one indication of our evolution from particle to wave. We are constantly in contact with one another. This is why touch is so important. This is why the blunt physical reality feels so intense. Because it is. This is Kate Foley. Thank you for listening.